Everyday people, extraordinary lives, journey through their stories, transform your mind. They're building enterprises and community, making a way for each other. That's the remedy. That's the remedy.
What happens when a lifelong love of books becomes a business and a way to keep stories, culture, and community connected? Today, we're excited to sit down with Victor Harris, founder of the Ink Crypt, an independent online bookstore based in Pittsboro, North Carolina. We'll explore the people and experiences that shape Victor's lifelong love of reading, the story behind the Ink Crypt, and what it takes to build and sustain a bookstore in today's digital world. We'll also talk about why independent and especially Black-owned bookstores matter, how books serve as culture and community spaces, and the joy of helping readers discover a hidden literary treasure. Because every book carries a story, and every book deserves its next chapter. So grab your beverage of choice, settle in, and join us for this thoughtful conversation. Welcome to the WEBB Remedy Podcast. I'm Rinnie Orr, your host and producer and executive director of WEBB Squared, and this is a mindset shifting podcast from WEBB Squared, our nonprofit working to recognize and address the wealth gap by providing a supportive ecosystem for rural entrepreneurs around Chatham County, North Carolina. Today, we're excited to sit down with Victor Harris, founder of the Ink Crypt, an independent online bookstore based here in Pittsboro, North Carolina. We'll talk about the story behind the Ink Crypt and the work it takes to keep books alive in our communities and why every book deserves its next chapter. So, with that said, I'd like to introduce Victor.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing today?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Good. Why don't you take us back to your journey around your love of books and how Ink Crypt began? Because to a lot of people, our business starts long before you actually incorporate your business. Can you take us back to the people and experiences that shaped your love for books?
My love for books comes from just about everybody in my family. The first person I can think of is my grandmother, Mabel Hines, over in Rocky Mount. She was an elementary school teacher. So, of course, her job during summer vacations when I was visiting them was to start me reading and to start my educational path. Of course, there was my parents, have my mother, who is a university professor. She used to be the dean of school of nursing with A&T and Central, and she was a big reader. And there's my father, James Harris. He was the one that introduced me to adult reading. At a very young age, he gave me his copies of Stephen King's Caring and Peter Benchley's Jaws. And reading those books really got me interested in things other than the children's genre that was out there.
How do you think that these people have influenced and shaped the way that you think about books and learning?
There really wasn't a limit to what I could read or how I could read. I had multiple books. I would read 3 or 4 books at one time. They would vary from anywhere from The Lord of the Rings to, of course, Stephen King, and one of the most influential writers that I've come across, Stephen Barnes. He's an African-American author known for Dream Park. He's done a lot of things with Star Trek. So when you have an African-American writer that really holds your interest, then you follow.
At what age did you know that books would become part of your life's work, or did that come later?
It came later. I always knew that books were a part of me. I have a huge library at the house, over 1,000 books just sitting in boxes, sitting in the bookshelves. And it just seemed like it was a natural choice for me to move to that direction.
I read on your bio that your first job was actually at UNC Press as a high school student.
Correct. I don't know why they gave me the job, but I was very excited to get it. And it was just simple things, working with putting up files and helping them with print. But it was a great learning experience and something that I remember to this day happily.
How does this experience shape the direction of your own bookstore and the creation of the bookstore?
Just knowing the work that is put into it to just make a simple book. And the books at the University Press were more academia. So I don't get a chance to sit down and read something like that on a normal basis. But when you do get something with UNC history, Chapel Hill history, and you know it's written by an author from the UNC Press, it does bring you back.
So let's talk about the Ink Crypt and the bookstore itself. How would you describe the Ink Crypt to someone hearing about it for the first time?
Ink Crypt is mainly a new and used bookstore, online 24/7. And right now it is still trying to discover itself. I truly believe that it's the patrons of the store that make the entity real. And we have the foundation, we have the bones. I am looking for the customers, the readers, to come in and help me make it their own.
For the readers, what kind of genres or categories are you especially excited to offer?
Well, what we've mainly got in stock is mysteries, science fiction, thrillers, and of course, romance. But we are looking to expand westerns, histories, cookbooks.
So your tagline feels like it's about discovery, hidden literary treasures. Every book is waiting for its next chapter. How does that philosophy shape the way that you are curating your books?
Currently, with the inventory, we have been given donations. So our science fiction section, we have a huge supply of Doctor Who novels. I would say good 200.
Wow, that's a lot of Doctor Who.
That is a huge amount of Doctor Who. And it goes from the original Doctor up until the current iteration. And it's so funny just getting these books. The people who donated, they're getting older. They can no longer read the small print. So they gave them to me, and we have it out there. We have a large amount of fantasy romance. I believe the genre is called romantasy now. But a lot of people, they have these books. They don't want to throw them away, but yet they've read them and probably won't read them again.
Have you been surprised by any particular treasures that have come your way besides Doctor Who?
We have received a large supply of out-of-print books that are first print. We have received a couple of video games that are in near mint condition, and they're PlayStation 1 vintage that people are definitely interested in.
Well, let's pull back a little bit and look at the bigger picture, because independent bookstores, especially Black-owned businesses, have always meant more than just commerce and customers and product. In your opinion, what do independent bookstores mean to you beyond the business side of things?
Again, it goes back to the community. A community builds a bookstore, and not just African-American bookstores, just bookstores in general. As far as the minority business-owned side of it, with the current count of minority-owned bookstores being around 307.
In the whole country?
In the whole country.
Wow.
It's kind of hard to believe that number is so low. But again, it depends on how you set up your bookstore. I am not a Afrocentric bookstore. I believe that all authors, all genres have a place, and I like to support that. Now, do I have a section for African American authors? Of course. And I love to showcase those books. But we also have a huge selection of gay and lesbian writers, gay and lesbian genres, religious books as well. So again, the community can come in, find what it's looking for, and hopefully support the business with suggestions on what I should get in and how to expand on those areas.
I know you have an online bookstore, but what role do you think bookstores play in general as cultural spaces or educational spaces or community spaces?
Chapel Hill, Carborough specifically, has had a numerous amount of bookstores in its history. We've had the Intimate Bookstore owned by the Corrals. We have the Nice Price Books, which was my first experience to a used bookstore. Unfortunately, they don't do books anymore, but they were a great way of finding comic books, finding used books. And even now with our current selection, we have Flyleaf. And we're also getting a Barnes & Noble in the old University Mall. Again, it is what the community wants. And it's about what the purpose that the community sees in the bookstore. So again, we can offer the products. We hope that the customers come in and help grow the business the way it needs to be grown.
What are some of the biggest challenges you see for independent bookstore owners?
The ability to get the word out that their business is there. My major problem is inventory. Right now, my major supplier of new books is Ingram, which is great. They have thousands and thousands of books in stock. The used book category, unfortunately, is mainly what I get from trades from customers. And they tend to be genre-specific, the science fiction, the romance, the mysteries and thrillers. So going out, trying to find a history novel, trying to find a cookbook that was written within the last 10 years, trying to find anything, classic literature, those are the difficulties.
What do you think people misunderstand most about what it takes to keep a bookstore going?
I don't think people think about that at all.
Okay.
I think it's mainly we have Kindles, we have iPads, we have Amazon tablets. It's real easy to download a book. It's real easy to go on Amazon and spend $9 to download a book, read it, and then it just sits in memory. You don't have to even worry about throwing it away. There are a unique amount of people who are actually looking for paper copies, more hard copy. And those people, they're trained that they can only go to the Barnes & Nobles of the world. If they knew more about the businesses that were out there providing books, there would be local support. And it's proven that the bookstores that are out there that have that friendly customer base, they succeed and they do very well.
Yeah, and the bookstore world has changed so much, especially with online retail, Amazon, social media, people expecting everything to immediacy, get it right now when you need it. So I'm curious about how you've navigated that. What has it been like building this online bookstore in a world where so much attention is pulled in every direction?
Several different ways. I am always in touch with independent writers. These are people that mainly sell their books on Amazon. We have a great connection. We try to bring their books into the bookstore so that people have the opportunity to sample their material and grow a customer base. I try to have an open dialogue with our customers, making sure that they're happy and making sure that they can give me word of mouth advertising so that they can tell other people about me and hopefully business grows.
How do you think about making yourself visible and reaching readers since you are an online bookstore?
That is a strategy that when I started this bookstore, I did not realize was as important as it is. You think that you're going to open up a shop, you're going to be able to talk to the clients and get to know them, crack a couple of jokes, hand deliver them copies of their books, and make them happy, and they come back for more. But the world has changed, and it's a lot more to that. Social media has been a big help. I aspire to have my social media be more of a community setting, and just being able to talk to the independent authors that I've met online so far That has been a big help. And again, just going out there and announcing to the world that I'm open, we've seen some progress there as well.
Oh, great. How do you balance that convenience of online shopping with that personal feel of working with real book lovers?
Again, just going out there and talking to them. Communication before the sale, after the sale. I have to admit, during the sale is usually at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I'm usually in bed at that time. But communication, again, through social media.
And how do you want people to feel when they interact with your bookstore online?
Shocked, amazed, and very happy with their purchase.
Fantastic. Let's just thank you for sharing that about the bookstore. Let's talk a little bit about you. What kind of books do you personally love most?
I have my two favorite authors, Stephen Barnes, which I mentioned before, and of course, Stephen King. I bounce around through genres. I'm rereading the classics that I should have read when I was in school, but just avoided. Reading The Catcher in the Rye now, just to remember how much I hated it as a kid. Biggest point there in that book, Holden Caulfield was a jerk. Tell your kids that. They'll get an A in their paper. Other than that, I've been reading Claudius, and I've actually gone through a couple of books from my childhood. R.L. Stein wrote a book called G.I. Joe, The Rise of Serpentor. I've had it in my collection for the past 30 years, haven't touched it. So I thought since it was a 100-page little jaunt, I'd crush it in a day.
What kind of reader or customer do you enjoy helping most?
One that I can learn from. When I was working for a place called Northgate Books several years ago, this was the year that the Hunger Games came out. I had a daughter that was around 10 years old, never even heard of it. So when that series came out, people were talking about it, picked it up for myself, read it. I said my daughter would be interested in this. So I brought it home to her, and she devoured it.
Are there any hidden gems in your catalog that you wish more people would discover?
I think as far as the gems, the classics are always going to be fun. Older books, I think a lot of people are worried about what their children are reading. Nancy Drew is still popular amongst kids, and these are books that are written, that were written when my mother was a child. They're dated, yes, but do children still enjoy it? With that, a series that I've always loved, Alfred Hitchcock and the Three Detectives, I believe that's the series. Again, older series, but yet every time I introduce it to a child, they're interested and they eat it up.
Would it be okay to do a lightning round?
Of course.
Okay, let's do this. Hardback or paperback?
Paperback.
Mystery, romance, fantasy, or horror?
Horror.
Do you prefer big bookshelves or stacked books everywhere?
Bookshelves.
One book you always recommend?
Multiple. Cycle of the Werewolf, for anybody who's starting off with Stephen King. Dream Park, anybody who is looking for a good fantasy read. It's science fiction, but it is fantasy based. Shakespeare, anything by Shakespeare. The stuff you get in school is so redacted and edited. When you actually get an actual Shakespeare play, it is everything that it's supposed to be. And of course, anything by Edgar Allan Poe.
Is there a book title that perfectly describes your life right now?
I don't think there's one called Anarchy, but there probably is.
And finish this sentence. Every book is waiting for...
That should be an easy one. An ending, a reader, mass appeal.
A great answer. So as we finish and wrap up, I want to bring back to the heart of what you're building, because your bookstore, Ink Crypt, is more than just a bookstore. It feels like a place where you want to bring books, memory, and community intersection together. What do you hope readers will feel when they discover the Ink Crypt?
I hope that they will get they'll feel a real love for books. That's the main point of the store. That's the main point of the store. You go, love books, read.
What is your biggest dream for the Ink Crypt as it grows?
I was talking about that with a friend. I think the ultimate goal would be Barnes and Nobles all over the world with a nice little chain that my children and grandchildren could be owners of. But I think right now the current goal is to just build the bookstore right. and make sure that it is a place where people want to come.
What is one thing that you would communicate with other entrepreneurs about this journey of owning your own business?
When they tell you it's going to be a lot of work, a lot of hard work, it is not the things that you are thinking. My father used to work for the town of Carborough as a person who actually helped small businesses get started in the area. I knew how to create a business plan. I knew how to create a budget from just listening and talking to him. Now there's social media, navigating social media and trying to figure out, yes, everybody's telling me that's relevant, but understanding in your heart of hearts that's relevant. The work that's required into researching it and then moving forward so that you have a social media broadcast that defines yourself, your store, gets that point across, and then, try to sell books.
If you could leave us with just one thought about books, community, or entrepreneurship, what would you say?
Books are humanity's expression, and no matter what book you read, you are looking at humanity, its values. You are looking at the time, and it's the best way to understand the people in that time period.
And most important question of all is, where can people find you?
I am online, www.theinkcrypt.com. Of course, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, X, or Twitter if you prefer.
And if it's okay with you, I'm going to put some of those links in our show notes.
That would be great.
To accompany the podcast. So thank you so much, Victor, for coming in and talking about your bookstore and sharing your story. Hope that a year from now, you'll come back in and update us about how things are going.
I just want to say thank you for this experience. Thank you for allowing me to be able to talk to you about the store. And I hope that people will come in and judge for themselves what the bookstore is about.
Thank you for joining us for this inspiring conversation with Victor Harris and for celebrating the power of books, entrepreneurship, and community. We hope that you'll support the Ink Crypt, share this episode with another reader or entrepreneur, and remember, our evolution begins with dialogue. Thank you for listening to the WEBB Remedy Podcast, a mindset-shifting project of WEBB Squared. Wealth Through Entrepreneurship for Black and Brown Businesses is a North Carolina nonprofit located in Chatham County. We offer incubator accelerator business services to Black, BIPOC, and rural entrepreneurs. Our podcast producer and editor is Rinnie Orr, the executive director of WEBB Squared. Our music is by Deja Bell and Maddie McGaskill. Our podcast studio is located at the 79 West Innovation Hub in Pittsboro, North Carolina. We realize that building an ecosystem of support is critical to achieving our mission. Your donation supports WEBB Squared's coaching services, the promotion of the businesses and entrepreneurs we serve, and of course the podcast. To learn more, please visit our website at webbsquared.org.
Everyday people, extraordinary lives, journey through their stories, transform your mind. They're building enterprises.